Hi everyone, just wanted to take a minute to talk a little bit about how to write a quadratic function in factored form based on a graph. And then we will work a little bit on converting between factored form and standard form. So ultimately, what you can do if you are given a graph and are asked, what is this equation? Um, the best thing about factored form is it is super easy to write based off the graph. It is kind of similar to vertex form in that it's not that hard to just kind of pick off from a graph. The only annoying part is once again going to be solving for a. So for example, here, let's take a look. Right, you have your two roots or your two x-intercepts. So just right off the bat, right, we already know this. Now, P and Q don't matter in terms of order, right? So if I use the 5 as P and or the -5 as P and the 1 as Q, it's the same thing as if I use the 1 as P and the -5 as Q. Right, so it doesn't make a difference. So if I plug that in, that's going to be x plus 5, x minus 1. It again, order will not matter. Now, you pretty much are done, all right? The only annoying thing with this then is you had to solve for a, right? Because you don't know what a is. So you essentially had to pick another point that you are given. So in this case, what's a point you can always find? Well, you can usually find the vertex. That's a pretty easy point. You don't have to, right? You could use the vertex. You could use, it looks like the y-intercept here appears to be, 0, -5. You could use that point. Anything works. The only thing you cannot use will be one of the roots, okay? So I'm just going to plug in. It appears to me, well, what is our, what is the vertex going to be? Well, just to confirm, -5 plus 1, -4 divided by 2 is going to be blah, 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 -2. So you're going to be plugging in -2. Right? So when you plug in -2, you know your answer has to be equal to -9. Right? So you know -2, 9, -9 is a point on this. So I'm going to plug this in. So I know when I plug in 2, my answer has to be -9. -2, whoops, I forgot the plus 5. Sorry. -2 minus 1, right? So if I have -9, a 3, -3. So I get -9 equals a times -9. So a will equal 1, right? So that works out nicely. And just to show you what that looks like, if you were to plug it in here, right, you can substitute, you get P and Q. And then you solve for a, you ultimately will have -9. Again, you can pick a different point. On that one, the vertex might not have been the easiest point, right? If I Ooh, sorry. So if you plug in, I knew that was coming. So, whoops. If you look back here, right, we kind of had 0, -5. So, if, for instance, right, if I plugged in, f of 0, a times, 0 plus 5 times 0 minus 1, that has to be equal to -5, right? Because that's what we know that point is. 5 -1, that's still going to end up being a equals 1, right? So if the y-intercept is easier, use the y-intercept. In general, the vertex is usually pretty easy to identify. The y-intercept might not necessarily be a nice point. So just pick the point that works best for you. All right. So let's just make sure we got this. Let's do another one. So when we look at this, what's our factored form? Right. This appears to be 3, and that is 9. So you have f of x equals a times x minus 3, right? They're both positive, so it's going to be minus 9. Now I need my vertex. My vertex is here at 6, -9. Wow, they really like -9. Go over to 6 down -9. So when I plug in 6, I'm going to get -9. 6 minus 3. They're not all 1, I swear. That's 3 times negative 3. Negative 9 equals negative 9 times a equals 1, right? So again, they're both, it's equal to 1. It's not always 1, but, that is a pretty common answer. All right, so one last piece of information is what happens if you have to go from factored to standard form. Just like with vertex form, you have to deal with some multiplication of binomials, though these ones are a little bit more, I guess, obviously written out, right? Before you had to rewrite, the x minus 2 squared as, x minus 2 times x minus 2. Now it's just x plus 1 times x minus 3. And then the big thing to not forget about is the number out front. All right, so in this case, there's a negative. Try not to forget that. All right, so for example, we have x times x is x squared. X times 9 is plus 9x. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times 9 is negative 27. Now we multiply everything by 2, x squared. I probably should have simplified this in the beginning, but whatever. I will go through this process. It's going to be the same. Negative 54, 2x squared plus 12x minus 54. All right, so ultimately, that is kind of how you convert. Now, you might be asking yourself, why would I bother to do that? There are instances where you need the y-intercept. Maybe you need the vertex, whatever the case. If you ever have to convert, it's really just a matter of multiplying. So let me know if you have any questions, and have a great day.